Hey y'all, so when you think of a New Orleans vacation, you think of Mardi Gras, the French Quarter, good food, fun, history, right? Well, it wasn't the case for these travelers.
Story time of how I went to New Orleans and experienced the weirdest paranormal activity. Now, I'm aware New Orleans is a portal, and her energy is extremely thick. You either love New Orleans or dislike it. As for me, I love New Orleans. Their culture, the people, the food, the history, top tier. Now, I always have love for New Orleans, being that my dad and my mom is Haitian, and it's also said that Haiti and New Orleans are considered sisters, with all their related history, such as the food, the architecture, their spiritual practices, hoodoo, voodoo, the list goes on. Now, back in 2022, me and my husband decided to pay a visit in New Orleans again. Now, mind you, we've been to all the tourist sites, the French Quarter, the Garden District, the Lafayette Cemetery, Bourbon Street, the list goes on. Now, mind you, I haven't experienced too many paranormal or ghost activities as much because I had a spiritual protection around me. But however, on this particular day, while walking on Jackson Square, I had my first encounter. And that was in the St. Louis Cathedral. Yes, the church. So on that particular morning, me and my husband, we were strolling. We decided to say, hey, why not just pay a visit to inside the church? And I heard they had like a gift shop in there, etc. So I decided to take a walk inside. Now, before heading inside, my husband got a phone call and he just told me he'll meet me inside when he's done. Now, as soon as I stepped a foot in that church, tell me why I was immediately stopped. Not by a person, but by multiple heavy, I don't know if it was spirits or whatever it was, but it was a heavy ass energy in there. Mind you, I was able to move with my eyes. Like, I looked towards my right, I seen a statue, I seen saints and candles lit, and I looked towards my left and I saw the gift shop there. Now, every second felt more dense and got more heavy, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? Now, I'm a type of person like to feel the energy out and to basically dissect it and see what's going on. Is this energy good or bad? And being that I'm an intuitive person, I could feel, hear, smell, and understand energy quite well. And I was also able to detect that the energy that I was feeling was good and bad. The good side is that was my spiritual team with me. On the negative side, that was the energy that was stuck in that church. I don't know what happened in that church back in the 1800s, 1900s, but something is lingering in there. It was lots of spirits lingering in there. Because as soon as I walked in there, it just felt like all eyes was on me. And not in a good way. It was like, oh shit, she could see me. And everybody, it's like for some reason, everybody was walking around normal. They were shopping. They was going into church. They was going further in the church. I couldn't even step a foot inside the church. I couldn't go further. I couldn't get out of the lobby. My feet was not moving at all. I decided to go shift my way in towards the gift shop and trying to move myself, whatever, because it just got more heavier and heavier. I'm trying to make my way out the front door, but I don't know, for some reason I made my way towards the gift shop. And it was also a part of me wanted to get souvenirs at the beginning. So I think that's another reason why my mind was just shifting my way towards the gift shop. Now, as I'm in there for only a few seconds. My husband walks in and he's looking around for me. I'm trying to wave to him to say, hey, I'm right here. But before he even got a chance to see me, he stopped at that front door. He made this face like, and then he turned around and walked out. That right there was intentional. Okay, yeah, he's feeling what I'm feeling. Now, as I'm in the gift shop, I'm looking around. I see the rosaries and a whole bunch of pictures of the saints and stuff like that. So again, one side of me was like, okay, I felt my spiritual team around me, my ancestors, my guides, my guardian angels. I already know I felt their presence around me and they were shielding me. The reason why I'm laughing because I know for a fact they're telling me to get the fuck out of there. Like, what are you doing in this gift shop, child? Get the fuck out. So they asked to swoop my ass out of there. Literally, I felt like I was floating. Like my feet was just floating out of there. Like I was out. Soon as I head out that door, my head felt like a pop. Like I felt like a pop of like you know how you're on a flight and then your ear starts to pop? I felt that type of like pop. That's how dense the fucking energy was in that church. Now I see my husband sitting on the bench, and I walked next to him, and I couldn't even fucking breathe. I couldn't even talk. So he's looking at me like, yo, babe, what happened? And I'm like, yo, give me a second. I'm saying Psalm 23 over and over and over in my head. I'm trying to ground myself and everything, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, or what the fuck I just experienced or happened. So I finally caught my breath, and I finally felt grounded after saying my Psalms, because when you encounter something like that, the fastest thing you want to do is ground yourself. So I turned to my husband. I was like, yo, babe, as I walked in there, I don't know what I was experiencing. I felt something extremely dense and crazy. I felt like it was a whole bunch of spirits floating in the air all around me. I don't know what the fuck it was. And he looks at me and was like, yo, babe, I felt the same thing. I walked in there. I felt like a energy trying to swoop me up, and I got the fuck out of there. So I turned around and looked at him like, why didn't you come inside and get me? And he was like, oh, I thought you were further in the church. And I was not trying to go further in there, because the energy felt like it was getting heavier and heavier. So I was like, okay, me and you experiencing the same thing, and everybody else walking in that shop, and that in the shop and inside the church, and taking pictures, walking around like it's nothing. And he was like, I don't know what's going on. He said, out of all the places that we experienced, I would never thought I would experience something like that in the church. And we both agreed to that. But as I walked out and I felt like myself again, I called my mom, being that she's Haitian, and, I'm trying to ask her what's the meaning behind that. And she said it could be a lot of things. She said what I experienced personally, it was the fact true. Like, it was a lot of spirits there, like lingering spirits. And it was also my spirit team. And it's a good thing that I got out. And she said also, when you entering places like that, especially late 1800s, late 19, very historical places, it's always good to leave offerings as well, just to pay the respect to the spirits that's there. But it's a whole nother story with that. But anyway, that was my paranormal, scary, ghost, whatever experience that I experienced in New Orleans. But anyway, I never heard anyone experience something like that in the Cathedral Church before. So let me know if you experienced something like that before in New Orleans.
Everything you heard about New Orleans is true. Real quick story time. I just spent the most amazing days in New Orleans. I brought in the new year with a whole bunch of hoodoos, and we sang, we danced, the spirit fell upon us. It was a high time, okay? And it was perfect. It was perfect. Things happen in New Orleans. Lots of spirit activity, things that I've always heard. It was my first time there, so I didn't quite know what to expect. But as a medium, I know that anything can happen. Also, I want to pause right here and just say that I wish my deepest condolences and to all of those who lost their lives on New Year's Eve in New Orleans. It was not far from where my group was. And we spent time praying for each of you and praying for the souls that were lost. We're so sorry that happened. So one of the days that we were there, we wanted to eat in the park, and there was a park not far from where we were meeting, and I thought that I would go down the road to check it out and make sure that it was had enough seating and was comfortable for everyone. So I went for a stroll by myself. It was beautiful outside. The birds were singing. It was pretty warm, like unseasonably warm for the end of December. And I walked down the road and went over to this park. When I got there, there was a bus stop right there on the corner. They had a bench, and there were a couple other benches right beyond that. And then over behind in the gate where the playground was, I saw that there was like a family back there. There was a child on the swing, and then there were two adults that I assumed was with the child. And then I saw like some seating beyond that space. And I was like, oh, great. There's plenty of places for my group to sit and hang out and have a good lunch. So I'm taking pictures of the seating area so that I can show my partner and my co-facilitator so that we can kind of get an idea of, what to tell our group before we walk over there. So I'm taking pictures, and then I wanted to take pictures of the seating right where the family was, but I was like, ooh, I didn't want to like creep anybody out because like, you know, I'm a mama. I don't want nobody taking pictures of my kids in the park. That's weird. So I was like real like self-conscious about taking the photo because I just didn't want to come off like a creep, right? Like, that's not cute. Anyway, I was like, let me just take this picture real quick. Like I took a quick snap, and then I was on my way, and I was like having such a good time, y'all. I was jamming. The birds were still singing. They were like coming up really close. I'm talking to the birds saying, hey, how you doing? And just looking around at how freaking beautiful New Orleans is. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just a beautiful place. So I get back over to my group. I'm sharing what I saw at the park. And I'm telling my partner, my co-facilitator, like, oh my gosh, there's so much seating. It's going to be cool. It'd be a great place for us to kind of hang out and kick it with the rest of the our hoodoo fam. So I whip out my phone and I'm like, let me show you all the different seating areas. And so where I'm like, this is like, you know, the bus stop, and then there's like some seating back here. And I was like, and then like, you know, I was like real nervous because, oh my God, boo, like there's this family. And I was like, there was like this baby on the swing and like 2 adults. And I was like, I didn't want to mess with them, but trying not to be creepy or whatever. But I was like, I took that picture and I was like, you know, I just left it at that. So my partner's looking at the picture and they said, what family? And I said the family in the picture, like the picture that I took. I took 2 pictures. I was like, the second picture is, you know, the one with the family in it. And they look at me. They're looking at my phone. They look at me again and they say, what family? There's no one in this photo. Y'all. Well, lo and behold, when I look at that picture, ain't nobody in that picture. Ain't no child or 2 adults in that photo. Who was that? Who were those people in the photo? Now, I done heard about supernatural things happening like this in New Orleans, but I was like, is this a little sensationalized? Are y'all just making it up? Because I saw them people. Because I was concerned about the people seeing me, because I didn't want them to think that I was creeping on their baby. I didn't want them to think that I was being a weirdo in the park. There's nobody in that photo. And it's so funny because when I told my best friend about it, she said, I wonder what year it was for them. They probably weren't in 2024. Who knows? She asked what I remembered about them. I said, all I remember is that the adults were not really talking to each other, but they were standing close, but not, you know, talking. And they didn't have any phones. They were just focused on the baby. Much like how I am when I take my children to the park with my husband. So everything they say about New Orleans is true. The spirits are alive. But in the words of my best friend, Sarah McKeeba Days, the South is a portal. And so it's not only New Orleans that's a portal like that. All of these southern lands here on Turtle Island breed opportunities for spirits to walk among us just like that. And I was so honored and fortunate that I could see them. And I don't know, the fact that I was there with a whole bunch of hoodoos just made that even more special for me.
It's a little story time about the New Orleans trip I had this past weekend with my mom. It was overall a really good experience. We had a really fun time together. We always do, but wanted to tell you guys about something really scary that happened. And to all my ladies, I'm going to preface this with saying, please, please, please be careful and be super aware of your surroundings. So I know that New Orleans is known to be a little bit more dangerous, has a higher crime rate, but where my mom and I were staying was in downtown New Orleans. It felt very safe where we were at, but we decided the day that we got there to just like walk around the block, like nothing too crazy, not too far away from our hotel. And about like 5 to 10 minutes into our walk, my mom was like, let's go look at this restaurant's menu that was right beside us. It hadn't opened yet. There were really no restaurants open yet. It was before 5 o'clock on a Friday, which is a little weird. You would think that there would be more places open at that time. So when my mom was like, let's go look at this place's menu, I thought it was really weird because we had just eaten. And I asked her when we had, walked off to the side to look at this restaurant's menu, like, why are we looking at this? We just ate. And she was like, there are two men behind us that have been following us for the past couple of minutes. When we passed them initially, they were on the phone and they immediately started following us. They turned around and started walking very closely behind us. I didn't even notice. My mom is super hyper aware of these things, so she noticed pretty much right away. Again, they were on the phone. I don't know what they were planning on doing, but they were definitely following us. Because when we stopped at this restaurant, they stopped too and just kind of like waited beside us for no particular reason. Like nobody else was really around. So this restaurant, it's called Showbird, I think. Shout out to Showbird. Because we knocked on the door. Luckily, there was somebody like prepping to open for dinner in the restaurant. And I asked him like, hey, we think these guys are following us. Could we just come in here and hang out for a little bit? And they let us in. They were super, super kind and said that we could wait there until they leave, just however long we needed. So we walked in. The men did not see us walk in because they kind of like walked away for a little bit, but were still lingering around the area. And there was this corner that they were past where they couldn't see us go into the restaurant, if that makes sense. So they didn't see us go in there, but they eventually ended up turning back around and just leaving. Again, I don't know what they were planning on doing, but it was very scary. It's the closest I've ever come to somebody following me or potentially wanting to steal something, kidnap, whatever, just not good things, and it's very scary. So ladies, please, please, please always be aware. I hate that we have to live in a society like this, but always act as if you're being followed. I'm very grateful that God protected us and for this restaurant, Showbird, that let us into their vicinity.
Before you come to the city of New Orleans for Mardi Gras, you hear me?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys about my creepy night, my weird encounter that I had down in New Orleans for Mardi Gras. So this was a few years ago, and the first day that we were down there, it was actually smooth. The vibes was cool. We ate really good food. Love the culture down there. We chilled. That first night we did go down to Bourbon Street. It wasn't even that packed the first night. It wasn't that packed at all. We socialized with different people, but there was one particular person that we did have a conversation with. He came right up to us and was like, hey, y'all better be careful on Bourbon Street. Don't get caught up in something that you're not supposed to be caught up in. Don't go too far down Bourbon Street. Stay ahead. Don't. He said, we was like, okay. So he said, no. He said, I'm serious. He said, don't. And he said, I've seen many people die on this particular street and many people vanish. He started telling us some crazy stories. And so we stayed right there talking to this man for at least a good 20-30 minutes. We enjoyed the rest of the night. We stayed out for a while that night. We went back to our hotel. Everything was chill. We planned to go back down to Bourbon Street the next day. This is when things took a shift from the moment I felt like we left our hotel room. Everything just fell off. Things just felt weird. Everything just felt so weird. So we went down to Bourbon Street, and this particular night, the street was packed, like to the point where you could barely walk down the street. We didn't even drink this particular night. We didn't have nothing to drink at all. We were very sober. We just kept on walking. We just honestly kept on walking. We really just got caught up in the moment, just looking around, seeing people talk, do crazy stuff, and we just kept walking. And I kid you not, the further we kept walking, it's like Bourbon Street got darker and darker. Of course, there was no businesses open where we were. That's how far we got down. No bars were open. It's like the street got quieter and quieter. We could turn around and we can still see people down Bourbon Street still. So we knew that we didn't go off. We know that we didn't go off too far, and we got to a point of Bourbon Street where there was it felt like the end, but we could still see the other side of Bourbon Street, if that makes any sense. But we were way past the crowd. There was really no one where we were. There was no businesses open. There was no bars open. We were just going. And we get to a certain point where we just all stopped talking with each other. We just got quiet. I don't know. We just stopped talking and we just started walking. It's like something caught our attention to the point where we were just silent, and we continued walking down Bourbon Street. We kind of looking at each other, all kind of confused, like, you know, like we don't turn around. Like, why are we still walking? And we got all the way down to this part of the street where there was a lady sitting. It was a lady sitting in a chair. She was dressed in all black. You couldn't see nothing on her. She didn't flinch. She didn't look our way when she saw us. She didn't do none of that. She sat there still like a statue. And next to her was a small stool. And it looked like it was some of her belongings that was in a black bag as well. She didn't say nothing. We all paused in our tracks. We looked at each other. And we was like, I said, let's turn around. Let's go back up towards Bourbon Street. The only thing that was really well lit that night was a lamp pole that had a lantern on it with the fire going. That was the only thing that was well lit. The rest of the street got extremely dark. It's like the air got heavy. It felt like there was pressure on us, honestly. Like, once we all talked about it later, it felt like there was pressure on us, and I can't even explain how it felt. Like, it just was a very eerie feeling. So we said, let's just turn around. We're gonna go back up towards Bourbon Street. I kid you not. As soon as we turned around, we were no longer on Bourbon Street anymore. How we got there, I don't know. It's literally like we turned around, we saw the lady sitting in all black. We saw the lantern with the fire going. We said, let's go back up towards Bourbon Street. We turned around, we're no longer on Bourbon Street anymore. We're on a street that we never even been on. We didn't even see the street the day before when we were on Bourbon Street. Where are we? And how we get here? We're all looking confused. We're all pretty quiet, like, where are we? There's no one on this street. Not a soul on this street. Nobody's walking by. There's nobody's talking. We can't even hear the sound of Bourbon Street anymore. We don't hear any people screaming. We don't hear any yelling. We don't hear nothing. It's dead. It's dead silent. And so we're just walking down this empty street. You could hear a penny drop. That's how quiet this street was. And at this particular time of night, New Orleans is pretty loud. So to be walking down a street where no one is at, no security guards, no cops, nobody's walking along the sidewalks, nothing is going on. There's not a car on the road. We're not hearing the sound of cars. We're not hearing nothing. It's literally like, once we got down to the end of Bourbon Street, we saw that lady sitting all black with the black veil covering her face. I don't know if I mentioned that, but she had a black veil over her face. And we turned around. It's literally like we were in a different dimension. I started thinking about the day before. That guy told us, do not be walking all the way down Bourbon Street. Don't be going all the way down. So as we're still walking down this unknown street, it's pretty dark. We're all looking confused, lost. We hear the sound of footsteps. We hear someone walking, and we all turn around at the same time. And when we turned around, there was 4 men, 1 girl. 4 men, 1 girl. Which is pretty common to see people in New Orleans wear masquerade masks. It was completely white, covering the whole face. And the girl, she had the same mask as them as well, except for one of the guys had a symbol on the side of his mask. I didn't look too much to see what the symbol was or anything, so I can't tell you guys, but they started walking. They were walking really fast towards us. 4 of the guys had on suits. The suits look old though. They didn't look like they were from today's time at all. We all look at each other, and so we continue on down the street. So we're walking fast. We're like, let's get up off the street. We don't have time for whatever's going on. Let's just keep on going down the street. And it's dark. We're still not seeing anyone out. There's still not a car out. No one else is walking down the sidewalk or anything. It's as if we were in a whole new dimension, honestly. The girl had on a old vintage dress with high white socks. It don't even look like she was a part of this time. It looked like she was like from mid-century time, literally. Like she was from like mid-century time. And she was walking along with them in the group, with the other 4 men in the group that all had on suits. Okay, so we're heading down the street. We're walking fast. We're looking for a crossway, somewhere to cross, anything, and not one crossway was appearing. Not one. They're walking faster. We're walking faster. Next thing you know, they're right up on us. They're right up on us, and they're just walking. So we all turn around because they're like, we're gonna watch our back. They're behind us, walking backwards. They're starting to walk slower. So we're like, what is this about? The girl makes her way behind the 4 guys, and she takes her index finger and drag it along the brick wall that was near us, basically as if like she was signaling to them, hey, it's time for whatever they had planned. And she slid her finger across that brick wall. So as we continue walking backwards and looking at them, we're all looking at each other like, okay, this is weird. I'm pretty sure at this point we're all thinking what the man told us. We should have not continued down Bourbon Street. Now we're somewhere where we don't even know. We're probably in a whole different dimension. Not really sure. So they're walking fast and stuff. They're literally like, their backs start to like hunch over. It looked like they were from the Purge, literally. We don't know what their intentions was. We weren't gonna ask. So I kid you not. So as we're walking, so we're like walking backwards, and we look over to the right where this alleyway appeared from. We don't really know, because we had paused in our tracks. They were still slowly walking up to us. We stopped walking. We're just sitting there thinking like, we're about to just run all the way down the street until we see someone, or just basically we're just gonna run for our lives. We all look at each other. So we started walking down the alleyway. They started walking with us, following us. So by now we all got the chills. Nothing felt real. And I said, let's run. We ran down that alleyway like there was no other. It was so dark. There was no lights down that alleyway. We just ran. We just ran and ran. The funny part was, they didn't chase us down. They didn't chase us down this alleyway. They stood down at the end of that mysterious street that we ended up on. They didn't come down that alleyway. They stopped. They started to walk at first, but they stopped. They did not come down that alleyway whatsoever. We ran all the way down that alleyway. Somehow we ended up on Bourbon Street. We got to Bourbon Street. My sister, she started holding her ears. She just burst out into tears. She started crying, screaming, crying. And she started saying, I gotta get home. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get home. I gotta get home. Get me up out of here. And we're trying to calm her down. She's screaming. But the funny part was, once we got down to Bourbon Street, the street was going crazy. The cops that are on horses could not control the horses at all. Horses was going crazy, hitting people and everything. The horses was hitting everybody. My sister screaming to the top of her lungs, get me out of here. Let's go. So we're trying to get through the crowd. We're trying to get you out of here. We're all panicking. We're still looking back. We're still just a few feet away from where we came off of this alleyway. That alleyway was not there anymore. We had not drank any alcohol that night or anything. The energy just felt so heavy. It just felt so eerie. It felt like we honestly came out of a whole nother dimension. And once we got off of Bourbon Street, we hurry up. When I tell you, we basically ran to our car. All of our stuff was already in the car anyways, because we were planning on leaving out, head back to Houston anyways. Once we got off of Bourbon Street, we got in that car so quick and left. We headed home so quick. We didn't ask no questions at all. We got in the car.
Y'all, I've been getting hella like New Orleans, like scary talk videos on my feed, and I got some stories. Okay, so the last time that I was in New Orleans was like maybe a couple years ago, and I was coming from Long Beach, California. I was in my little travel bug bag or whatever, and I don't know what possessed me to just go to. I wanted to go to New Orleans. New Orleans, if you've never been to New Orleans, like, for me, like, it's one of those places, like, after a while, I crave it. Like, I just want to be there. Like, the energy is very unique. And I noticed that some people are really, like, uncomfortable by New Orleans. Real talk, I feel like it's usually, like, racism. Like, let's be real. Like if somebody who's non-black is like, I don't know, like, New Orleans just, like, I'm just like, oh, so you don't like black people? Because one thing I love about New Orleans is the fact that it's so black, and it's such a rich city. It's so cultural, and it's beautiful. I love the ratchet parts too. Shit, that's where the bomb ass food be at. But anyway, like, it's not necessarily just racism. It is a trickster city. It has trickster energy, and that's what I'm about to talk about in these stories. Okay, so I just decided to randomly go down there, and I hit up my friend, and who actually ended up meeting me in Long Beach. I just remember that he was there with me, and he works for the airline. He works for United. So we were just like, okay, we'll meet up in New Orleans, because I had this 2-bedroom, 2-bath, like, really nice Airbnb in Marigny, which apparently used to be the hood back in the day. Y'all let me know in the comments, because I don't know. But that's what he was saying. And then his friend was like, no, it's cute now. So I don't know, whatever. So we go out to the gay bar. We're having a great time, having some drinks. Like, he's from New Orleans. So, like, he got a couple friends. He be in these streets. So, you know, New Orleans is but so big. So people know him. Like, we're having a good time. So this dude, like, a little bit shorter, and I'm tall. A little bit short, I would say like maybe 5'7", brown skin, a little bit on the chubbier side. Dude comes, and he was like, oh, you're so pretty, like, da 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 da, like, and it's like, oh, thanks, like, whatever, you know, it's a key. So he's like, oh, you got somebody on your mind, girl. And he's like, oh, you like him. Ew. And I was like, ew. He was like, ew. And I was like, ew, no, but I do. And I was like, not you reading me. And he was just like, he gonna die. When I tell you, something inside of me leapt like it had to be my motherfucking ancestors, because I already know my ancestors don't play about me. Leapt out of me and was like, don't ever say that. My handyman just walked in, so I had to switch it up a little bit. I just realized I had some ash. Well, it wasn't ash. It's dust from construction. We're doing some construction in my house. Anyway, yeah, that feeling, you know, even when I try to like think about it, I can just describe it as like protection, because the way that I responded so strongly was just like, no, back the fuck up. Like, you know, but it was like, okay, I had some drinks, like the Jameson was flowing, but it wasn't no, like, I was so twisted. Like, I don't get like that when I've been drinking, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I said, New Orleans has a trickster energy. And when I tell you, like, when I, like, barked like that, he was like, ooh, and, like, just disappeared. I kid you not. Like, the gay bar was not that big. Like, and I even asked my friend, because he was standing, like, not, like, close to us. He was like, I kind of remember that dude, but, like, he's like, I don't know. Like, I didn't see y'all talking or whatever. And, like, I even asked, like, another friend who was, like, with us. And she was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember seeing him. And it's like, all of a sudden, like, nobody saw him. The fuck? I don't like that. No, I don't like that. So the other story is, when I was getting ready to leave, I called a Lyft. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I had a red-eye flight. And when I called this Lyft, bro, like, you know, it wasn't starting to rain. It was already raining a little bit, but pretty lightly. But you know how that go when you're trying to get, like, a car. And, like, it's not New York. Like, you never know how long it's going to take sometimes. Sometimes you do get a car, they be, like, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, like, on some LA shit. So, like, I'm like, okay, like, getting a little nervous. But I finally get a car, and it's some guy. I'll never forget this. His name was, like, Donovan. Bro, when I tell you, again, like, that inner feeling was just like, yo, cancel that shit. So I'm bugging because bitches be late. And I'm like, I'm not late, but I see this rain. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get a car. I'm, like, not really ready to cancel this Uber. But I'm just like, something ain't right. Like, this dude, like, and I know y'all about to be like, don't judge somebody by how they... No, bitch, we judging. Because, like, when I looked at him, like, he's giving the originals. It's giving Vampire Diaries. Like, he's super, super pale, dark hair. Just, like, yo, looking at the picture of him, I just did not feel right. Right when I was about to... just, like, I had clicked on his profile to look on his picture, he messaged me, and he was like, have no worries, we'll be there as soon as I possibly can, we'll make sure to get you to your destination in one piece. It was just like, why are you saying all that? Like I get it, because when you get, like, DoorDash, you get, like, Lyft or whatever, like, people will message you and just be like, you know, like, little friendly, whatever. Like I said, my gut alarm bells were ringing. So what I did was I ran my Uber to start looking for a car. And the minute that car got, you know, like, I linked up with that car, and I just canceled the other one. But, like, trust your gut. Like, in New Orleans, trust your gut. If some shit does not feel right, don't ask no questions. Get the fuck out of there. Also, the first time that I ever went to New Orleans, which was not the same trip, first time I ever went to New Orleans, this woman told me, she was like, don't move around this city as like a single woman if you can help it. Try to always have somebody with you. She was like, girls like you disappear a lot here. And I was like, what do you mean, like black girls? She's like, you just have you have an aura, you have like, there's something attractive. And when she was saying attractive, I don't think she meant like physically. I think she was talking about like spiritually. Bitch. I don't like that. I don't like that. And this is the first time I ever went to New Orleans. This was one of the first things she ever said to me. Be careful out there.